So, Chris, I've just mentioned that there is a huge catalogue of Shimano Baitcasters, which is amazing. It means there's a reel for everybody for all of the applications, but that can be a little bit confusing on the outset. So on the side of the reel, there's a size number, and obviously that relates to varying sizes of baitcasters. So could you tell me a little bit more about that and exactly why you would pick one size over another?
Yeah, the main reason why there are so many sizes of baitcasters is because you have to pick the right reel for your lure application. The lighter the lure gets, the lighter the spool needs to be.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So when it comes to my BFS reels, for example, the reason you want that light spool is you're casting really, really lightweight. So as you move the lure forward in the cast, you need the reel to start moving as soon as it feels that weight. So the moment of inertia of that spool is really, really low, which is very, very important. If you pick the wrong one and you try and cast lightweight, you're just going to have an awful day's fishing. Everything's going to get pulled to the left, and it can be really, really difficult.
Yeah, and another reason for size differences is the line diameter.
Yeah.
If you throw light lures, you need less diameter of a line, so you don't need much capacity.
Yeah.
But when you increase the lure weight, you're going heavy, you need bigger diameter line. That's why you need more capacity, like the one you have in your hand. This is a 300 size reel, which is very big, so you can have a big diameter of a line. This is a 70, it doesn't hold as much line. So you are good with that.
That makes total sense. And the other thing that you were talking about, which I didn't actually know, is the difference between, say, a 50 and a 51 and a 70 and a 71. So what is the difference?
Yeah, so it's quite easy. When there's a 0 at the end, it's for right hand. And if there's a 1 at the end, it's for left hand. So the 71, for example, the 1 reels, they are the one which are more common in the European market because most of the people are using their left hand to reel in.
That makes total sense. See, I told you I was going to learn things. So Chris on the boat, I'm definitely picking things up as we go. I hope you are as well. One of the things I'm going to get you to do now is just list each rod to each reel type, or roughly whether it's an ultralight or a medium heavy. So we'll go through that now.
The lightest you can go in the Shimano lineup is the BFS reel. You can pair that with an ultralight or light rod. The 30 and 50 size is easily paired with a light or medium light rod. The next step, the 70 and 100 size, they are very universal. You can pair that up with a medium light, with a medium, and also with a medium heavy rod. The 150 size is preferable used in a medium heavy and heavy setup. The 200 is used for heavy and extra heavy stuff. And the 300 size and bigger, they are used for extra heavy and heavier applications.
Right, thank you very much, Chris. That's a really good general guide. And I can tell you it's difficult to go through all of those things because, again, like we've said in previous segments, there are so many options to pair up with so many rods in the Shimano range. And that's the reason there's a range. There's so many different things that you're going to be doing out there. You need to be able to pair up the right reel with the right rod. Now, one of the things that the BFS geek inside me listened to when Chris was talking about rods is obviously pairing a BFS reel with an ultralight or a light rod. So tell us a little bit more about BFS and why you're not using it as a term for the rod action.
Yeah, I can understand that it's a little bit confusing for the one who's not familiar with BFS, but BFS stands for Bait Finesse System. So as the name it says, it's a system. And Shimano uses the term BFS for classifying the smallest reel size they are available on the market. But in general, rods are commonly categorized by a power rating. Correct. So that's why I refer to ultralight and light rods combined with a BFS reel.
Yeah, and BFS is an ever-evolving thing, and this is where the geek inside me gets quite excited about it, but back in the day it was all about casting 1 gram trout spoons, and now with the European style of fishing, with people like myself and Chris, we're using BFS and stretching that weight range into more of a power finesse, power bait finesse. So that's ever-changing, and rod power doesn't change. So that's why we talk about ultralight, light, and then right the way up through the range. Right, so now we are going to deep dive more into baitcasters. We're going to look at everything like features and benefits of the baitcasters, as well as rod types to pair up with your baitcasters and how actions affect fishing with a baitcaster. Now, talking about actions and rod actions, I have just done a video on the Shimano YouTube channel, and there is also an article on the website. So if you want to deep dive a little bit more into rod actions, then you can find that in both of those places. But very briefly, we've got extra fast, fast, moderate fast, and moderate as rod actions. And the best and most simple explanation for that, it is where the bend starts when you load the blank. So from extra fast, the bend is going to be more at the tip of the rod, and as you work your way back towards moderate, you're going to have more of a parabolic bend, which in a fishing situation has loads of advantages and disadvantages depending on how you're using those rods. But what I'm really interested to find out about is how that affects casting with a baitcaster, and that is what we're going to talk to Chris about. So tell me a little bit about rod actions and baitcasters.
So rod actions really make a big difference when using with a baitcaster. When you have an extra fast rod, it's very, very good for precise casting because the tip only bends a little, and a moderate action is very good for getting long distance casts. As a beginner, my advice is to go for a moderate fast or maximum a fast rod. This will give you a lot of distance, but it also helps you to make a good cast because extra fast rods, they are very, 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 very finicky to cast, and it's very difficult. So stay with fast or moderate fast rods, and that's the perfect way to go.
Yeah, that gives you much more versatility. And obviously, as you move up in your fishing and you're trying to use your baitcaster in different scenarios for different fish, then that's when it comes really, really important between a moderate and an extra fast paired up with different types of reels. So it's all about understanding rod actions and exactly what you're trying to achieve with your baitcaster. Thanks very much, mate. We're going to move on to features and benefits of baitcasters, so come with us.